All right, we covered it a lot. Let's go to Roger Stone, Republican political consultant, 30-year political advisor and confidant to Donald Trump. He is the man. He's also author of the book, The Clintons' War on Women. Roger, welcome back, my friend.
Steve, great to be here.
All right, so what do you make of this this attempt to cloud the issue? This shooter underwent a background check. Okay, this shooter worked for a security company. He had a license to have arms. He bought the arms legally, and yet the Democrats are making it into a gun issue. What do you make of Donald's tweet to say he'll sit down with the NRA?
Look, I think Donald is exactly on the issue that has validated his entire campaign, which is when you have open borders, you are going to open the doors to Islamic terrorists, and those Islamic terrorists will kill Americans, whether they be gays or women or average citizens. Donald Trump clearly will stand up and protect all Americans, including gay Americans. And Hillary Clinton wants to kind of look the other way and pretend this isn't happening because it's so politically incorrect for her. They can barely get the words Islamic terrorism out of their mouths. So I don't think that the majority of people are going to think that this problem is caused by guns. This problem is caused by deranged ideological maniacs who are willing to use those guns.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this just, I think, people have said that you don't want this to be the case. You don't want terror attacks. But there's a clear difference here between Hillary and Trump, and this is going to resonate. Trump's view will resonate with Americans.
I think it's a strong suit issue. Look, he is committed to fixing our broken immigration system and setting up a system which can vet those who would come here, including Syrian refugees, to weed out those who don't mean us well, who are in fact terrorists or worse. So I think it shows the common sense of his approval. I think the fact that we've seen this before, but sometimes in the course of this campaign, major events that no one could predict, Paris, San Bernardino, the murder of the woman in San Francisco by an illegal immigrant, and now the horrific Orlando shootings. These events have refocused the campaign on Donald Trump's strong suit issue.
I want you to hear what Donald Trump said also, and this should be an issue, and it's starting to be an issue with Donald, and I don't know if the media will ever pick it up, but here's some of what he said about Hillary.
She's taken $25 million from certain countries, and much more than that when you add it up, that treat women horrendously, that kill gays. She's no friend of women, and she's no friend of LGBT Americans.
Now, I want you to weigh in on that because we put up the list yesterday of a bunch of countries that have given millions of dollars and how they treat their gays. They either put them to death, they stone them, they put them in jail, whatever. So, and also, there's a report that that the guy that everybody knows is Milo, who writes for Breitbart, he started a hashtag Gays for Trump, and he claims that they shut him down, and they shut that hashtag down on Twitter. So address both these things.
Yes, of course. To begin with, I think that he is absolutely correct. In my book, The Clintons' War on Women, I document the Clinton Foundation taking in excess of $100 million from Oman, Qatar, the Saudis, and others. These regimes oppress women, oppress gays. Women are not allowed to be seen in public without a veil. They're not allowed to own property. They're not allowed to be educated. They're not allowed to choose their own husband. If they are raped, they are stoned to death. And of course, the oppression of gays, which is demonstrated right here in Orlando with these horrific murders. So these are oppressive regimes. Does anyone believe, after taking $25 million from the Saudis, I think that's the number Donald was referring to, that Hillary is going to declassify the 28 pages of the congressional inquiry into 9/11 that pertain to the Saudis' involvement, something Trump has called for, something that a third of the members of Congress have called for.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, you want to weigh in because you haven't been allowed back on CNN and you've been a subject of people trying to keep you quiet. You want to weigh in on the Twitter Milo situation?
Sure. Look, I see that they quickly reinstated him. Chris Barron was on CNN this morning, longtime conservative activist who happens to be gay, and he is organizing Gays for Trump. a market for which I think there will be a sharp improvement given Hillary's cowardice in the face of this threat. I also think that the mainstream media censorship, whether it's Facebook playing games with conservative publications or websites or pages, or whether it is censorship at Twitter, it's wrong. Censorship is wrong, and Twitter should be ashamed of themselves. Look, I have a very substantial following on Twitter. And I am a New York Times best-selling author. I am, as you can say, Steve, out in the arena. Twitter refuses to validate me. It's like I don't even exist. So Huma Abedin is validated, but not.
Well,
the
we're going to get
the Stone Zone.
We're going to get to Uma in the next segment. You wrote a great piece on Uma. Let's get to the phones though for the remainder of this segment, Roger. And let's go first to Omaha, Nebraska, and say hello to Sean. Hi, Sean.
How are you doing there, Steve?
Good, good.
Good. WikiLeaks came out and said that they had recovered 20,000 of Clinton's emails. And my question is, when they come out with these on Monday, if Obama was communicating with Clinton on the unsecured server, does this not make him guilty of some type of crime, especially if it had something to do with national security? Especially after Hillary said the whole state to do that she was on that unsecured server.
What about it, Roger? What about these emails that WikiLeaks is threatening to put out?
Look, I think they could be devastating, and technically you may be exactly right. But does anyone really think that Loretta Lynch is going to prosecute her boss, the President of the United States? Just as I have no confidence that they will prosecute Hillary Clinton for her repeated and obvious and egregious lawbreaking. It was interesting. I saw Bill Weld, the former governor of Massachusetts, on the TV the other day, saying that that Hillary's email scandal was not really a crime because it lacked intent. And I hate to disagree with the esteemed former prosecutor, but this is not a crime that requires intent. Criminal negligence is sufficient, as Judge Napolitano has written and said several times. And like Donald Trump, I'm scratching my head as to why Hillary has evaded prosecution.
Yeah, and you got to love some of the precious. By the way, Sean, thank you very much. Some of the precious tweets that Hillary's put out about people who are under surveillance by the FBI shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. How about someone who's under FBI investigation running for president?
Anyone involved in a domestic violence should not be allowed to own a gun. Well, Hillary has, according to both Gary Aldridge and this new book by a Secret Service agent, Hillary has kicked, punched, slapped, scratched, and thrown hard objects such as ashtrays, lamps, car keys,
at Bill.
books,
All right, we're coming
husband.
back. More of Roger Stone and your calls. Don't go away. All right, folks, we're back with Roger Stone, Republican political consultant, 30-year political advisor and confidant to Donald Trump, and also author of the book, The Clintons' War on Women. Donald, you wrote recently about Uma Abedin and how it's time that America got some answers. What'd I say? Roger, sorry, Roger. Said Donald. Okay, that's good. That it's time America got some answers about Uma. Now, not too long ago, a couple of years ago, there were some people in Congress, about 5 brave souls, who tried to do just that. Background on her family, etc., and they were shot down by John McCain and others who called them un-American. So what would you like to find out about Uma Abedin?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point here, of course, is that Huma can be tied directly through her parents and her brothers to the Muslim World League. And the Muslim World League is a major player in the Rabatha Trust, which is named by the U.S. Justice Department as a Islamic terrorist front that funds bin Laden in the attack on America on 9/11. There's no dispute here. Oh, those are indisputable facts. Huma and her family work for a mysterious a Islamic extremist named Abdul Omar Nassif. Nassif is the common thread running through all of these radical groups. It is a major funder of terrorism. So her entire rise, I think, is questionable. I don't understand why somebody with these relationships can get a national security clearance. Now, when Vanity Fair reported this, and also I think it was Harper's had a pretty tough piece, immediately the beautiful people in the media who are politically correct try to shut you down, saying, oh no, she's so beautiful, she's so chic, she's so smart, she's a dedicated public servant. Public servant? Why, she got a special waiver that allowed her to be a full-time employee at the State Department while double dipping at Teneo Strategies, the lobbying firm where Ed Rollins was her partner, the Republican strategist, but which is controlled by the Clintons and Doug Band, where Bill Clinton was being paid $2 million a year. And then even Huma was allowed to triple dip on the payroll of the Clinton Foundation, which, as we know, also paid dirty trickster and Democrat hitman Sidney Blumenthal.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the likelihood is? I mean, have you gotten any indication from Trump or the campaign that he's on board with this kind of these kinds of questions?
Well, my purpose today is just to lay it out for people for discussion. What Trump decides to do and what he decides to talk about is up to him. He has alluded to Huma in the past and her relationship with Hillary. Now, many people took that to mean personal relationship of some kind. But I think the issue here is not a personal relationship. It's not how close she is to Hillary. It's whether she is, in fact, handling Hillary for the Saudis, whether she is an agent for a foreign nation, which is what I think based on this extensive research. You can go to Breitbart.com, Breitbart News, pardon me, and see this piece. The U.S. Mail and some others pick this up, but they neglect to include the details of Huma's background that I think are most compelling in making the case that she is tied to Islamic extremism.
All right, interesting. All right, your calls, folks, 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. Let's get back to the phones and go to Dolce from Palm Springs, California. Hi, Dolce.
Hi, Steve. I'm so glad that I finally got you.
Thank you.
My family, Steve, and my friends likes you a lot because you're like Trump, tough and strong, and we need a president we doesn't need a president who is a weakling. So my concern, Steve, this is just a simple concern. Do you think Trump will be sabotaged during the
convention? Will he be sabotaged?
He will not be nominated?
I hear a lot of speculation that the delegates don't want to vote for him, but blah, 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 blah. Look, unless they change the rules of the convention, these delegates are committed to voting for him on the first ballot. He's got more than enough to have the nomination. There will be a revolt if they try to do that. And I don't know exactly who would have to do that, Dulce, but I'll say this. There are many in the Republican Party, the establishment part of the Republican Party, that couldn't care less. They would rather see Hillary get in there. They would rather have a revolt amongst Trump supporters who would stay home and leave the party and have Hillary in there because they think they're saving the Republican Party. So I put nothing past them. I think it would be very difficult to pull off. I don't think they could do it, but I put nothing past, Romney and Ryan and Graham and the rest of them. None of them. Anyway, Dolce, thank you very much. We lost Roger Stone. You might have seen his Skype go poof into the night. Hopefully we'll get him back. But in the meantime, it's you and me. Let's go to Rick from Durango, Colorado. Hello, Rick.
How you doing, Steve?
Good, good.
Just want to talk about Islamic religion. It seems to me that it's based on...
Could you speak up a little bit?
This Islamic religion.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like it's based in discrimination and obsession. It's like if you're not a Muslim, you're an infidel, and you should die.
Well, there are a lot. There are a lot of Muslims. 1.5 billion. If you're talking 10%, and I think it's more. You do the math. That's a heck of a lot of Muslims who agree with that line of thinking. And here we are. I mean, here we are in the holy month of Ramadan, right? The holy month of Ramadan. Tell me, do we have to worry about Christians killing other people during Easter? Do we have to worry about Jews killing other people during Passover or Yom Kippur? Why in the holy month of Ramadan do we have to worry about radical Islamists killing innocent people? And that's another thing. That's another thing. They say they're against killing innocents. But you're right. Those who believe, as you described, believe that if you're not Muslim, you're not an innocent. So you tell me, Rick. You tell me, Rick, because
what about nativity scenes at Christmas time? What's going on with that?
What do you mean?
Well, they're trying to do away with nativity.
Oh, well,
scenes in public square.
look.
I mean,
There's a war on Christianity in this country. Barack Obama, at times, as I played at the beginning of the show, at the prayer breakfast, at the Easter ceremony, has led the war on Christianity. But he protects Islam at all costs. And that's what Trump is referring to when he says there's something going on. And there is something going on. Whatever it is, even if it's as simple as him just not sharing our Judeo-Christian values the way you and I have those values. He has a different set of Judeo-Christian Muslim values. I don't know, but there is something different about him compared to the average American. There just is, and it has nothing to do with the color of his skin. Thank you, Rick. Let's go to Mark from Luray, Virginia. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Steve. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I want to say one thing. Our president is 100% Muslim, okay? And he said at one time, America is not a Christian country. That's a bunch of bull. Our God is a God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right.
Well, we're a Judeo-Christian country. Our laws are based on Judeo-Christian ethics and teachings. And you know, for him, he's a Christian. If someone tells me they're a Christian or a Jew or whatever, I'm going to believe them. But I will say his values are different. Most Christians, as President of the United States, someone in a prominent position or even someone in a non-prominent position, isn't going to be going around blasting Christians and Christianity while defending Islam at all costs. That's just not the way it works.
I don't believe him when he says he's Christian.
Well, that's your prerogative.
Every time he turns around, he's a liar. He's a liar.
Well, he's a liar. That's true. He is a liar. Whether he's lying about his religious beliefs, I can't get inside his head. I will grant him the courtesy of accepting what he says, but I will not shut up and pretend that he's just like every other Christian. He certainly isn't. Every other Christian doesn't get up at the prayer breakfast and Easter and start trashing Christians. I'm sorry. But I thank you for the call, Mark. Thank you very much. Let's go to Detroit, Michigan. And Dave reminds me of Kentucky Fried Movie when they were punishing some guy and they said, "We'll send you to Detroit." No, not Detroit. Hello, Dave.
How you doing, Steve?
Good. How are you, sir?
Very good show.
Thank you.
I let everybody know to watch your show.
Thank
and
you.
Newsmax, as
Thank
a matter
you.
of fact.
Appreciate that.
And I know my brother's watching. I'd like to give a shout out to Dan of Detroit.
Okay, great. Hi, Dan.
And my question is, why wouldn't someone come up with another Facebook or Twitter that wouldn't censor conservative talk or anything else for that matter?
Yeah, it's a darn good question. And to me, it's an extension of why aren't there protests in the street protesting the slaughter of Christians? Why aren't there people fighting back when a store or a corporation pulls out of the RNC because of Trump? Where's the majority of people saying, you pull out of the RNC, we're not going to frequent your business? Conservatives are not good at that. And that's a brilliant point. We need a conservative Facebook, a conservative Google, a conservative Twitter. You're darn right. But we do have Newsmax television, Dave, and thank you very much. More coming up next.